After the first season, Monmouth men's lacrosse in the books now, along with Brian Fisher, Matt Harmon on Hawk Vision. Coach, let's get into just the development of the program. You know, that first season, 13 games, little bit of up and downs during the course of the year. Just an overall evaluation of how you think things went with your players.
I think it was a very successful first year. I think the first thing we have to discuss is the fact that we were unable to get our program's first win. But whether it was 1 win, 2 wins, 5 wins, we weren't going to gauge our success this year based on wins and losses alone. More than anything, I'm really proud of the guys in our program and how hard they worked, how passionate they were about coming to work each day. I could rattle off a number of names, but the core group of guys who we're going to lean on going forward, coming in to watch film, weekly and a couple times a week in some cases, how hard they played, and then just how hard they competed on Saturdays. It's really been a pleasure to coach those guys, and that'll be the foundation of the team going forward. And if we can say we're going to rely on hard work every day and getting better every day, I know it's a little bit cliche, but we're doing the right things, and we'll be successful with that strategy.
Do you feel like during the course of this season you maybe established the identity of the Monmouth program? Obviously, it'll continue to develop as years continue to trickle off, but after year one, what would somebody say when they played Monmouth? Hardworking. Describe what you would, as an opposing coach, how you would describe Monmouth.
Some of the best compliments I think our program received came from opposing coaches, and the theme kind of was, and as a coach, and maybe it's because I'm close to it, I see my guys every day, I expect and demand a little bit more, but the number one thing that several coaches said to us this year was just that we don't back down from everybody and how hard we compete, and I was glad to hear that, and I think our group of guys, they do compete and play really hard. As I said, they're passionate about it, so I think that was the best compliment that I've received about our team, and I've also heard that from some people here on campus, so I'm proud of that, and I think and hope we'll know soon as we're coming up on finals that translates into the classroom as well. We had a good fall, our first semester here with a large group of freshmen, and if we can repeat that success in the classroom as well, then there's no question it would have been a successful first year for us.
Numbers-wise, obviously stats don't always tell the story, but if you had to take a couple of positives statistically out of this particular season, what would you jump on?
I would say positive. You look at just the number of minutes a lot of young guys have played. Just about everybody who played this year is returning for us, and that's very unique to a new program. We don't have any guys who we leaned on this year who are graduating. So we're going to have a lot of experience. Those number of minutes the guys that played this year coming back, I hope should jumpstart us in the next fall.
When you think, too, about maybe areas of improvement, obviously experience, that's one that everybody got during the course of this year. But again, looking at the numbers, things like face-offs, things like taking advantage of man up or playing man down, those things are usually things that come with players being older, more experienced.
Yes, and also bigger and stronger in the weight room and just kind of physical maturity. I think you nailed it. We got to do a better job at facing off, and our guys have gotten better. I think both of our guys this year, Marco and Duncan Campbell, Marco Mosley, have adapted and gotten better throughout the year. Man, did they go through the grinder earlier in the year with 4 or 5 of our first games. They were going against some of the best competition in the country, guys like Kevin Massa from Bryant and Chris Nardella from Rutgers. So they saw some good competition this year, and I think they'll be better for it. We just need to continue to develop them, and we have another guy coming in next year who I think will provide some depth there and help us as well. But to summarize kind of the extra man, the offense, one of the things I feel like we did a really good job this year is our core group of guys was very coachable. We were able to execute offense, in many cases get good shots. I was never disappointed with kind of our decisions to take shots. We just need to get bigger, stronger, have a little more confidence, and finish the ball on extra man in offense when we have transition opportunities. That was one of the themes that we saw this year. And I hope part of that is confidence, experience, and also just being bigger and stronger. But it's something we've worked on a lot and just will continue to work on going forward.
Talk about, obviously, the roster makeup maybe now moving forward. Nothing official with the recruiting class announced as of yet, which will be coming shortly in the future. But obviously, with so many guys back, at some point there has to be a little bit of a roster changeover where you'd have the largest roster on campus.
That's the number one challenge, I think, in terms of building a program. You have to recruit a large first class to jumpstart the thing and get the ball rolling. But then managing the classes in the years to come. And yeah, there's no question our roster is going to be a little large these next couple of years. And that's because we're trying to remain committed as best we can to the guys that we do recruit and welcome to join our team. At the same time, unbelievably excited about the future because the next couple recruiting classes that we already have intact, are going to be very good and add depth and athleticism, immediately, starting with next year's class when they get to campus. So a variety of things to be excited about with our program, but the recruiting is certainly one of them.
In a season, Brian, where maybe you can't gauge things off of wins and losses, from game 1 to game 13, how much improvement did you see with your guys on the field?
A lot of improvement across the board with some individual development, but also with our team. I think the biggest challenge and struggle with such a young group is just the consistency from one game to the next. We didn't necessarily see our improvement kind of in a linear fashion from one game to the next and played our best game in the last game of the year. But we certainly got better throughout the season, late in the season. We were doing a lot of the right things. We just need consistency, and I think part of that is the maturity, the poise, the experience. So that we can attack it from one day to the next and continue to make those improvements. But in terms of improvements, we've improved a great deal and have hit kind of several plateaus along the way. And I think we're poised and ready to make that next jump next fall.
When you think maybe specifically at some of the areas offensively, 3 freshmen kind of led the way in terms of scoring, which is no big surprise on a first-year roster. Chris Daly garnered the first weekly award, being Rookie of the Week towards the end part of the season. All those guys now you would expect to put together a solid offseason and be ready to kind of return back and hopefully be challenged by some of the new guys on the roster.
Well, no question. And the guy that you just brought up, I'm really pleased with where he is and towards the end of the year. He's really begun to figure it out and started to finish his opportunities, but he really became a complete player towards the end of the year. The film work that he's done, the weightlifting, the additional work with our staff that he's put in is paying dividends for him. And I can't wait to get him back on campus next fall. He's one of those guys that has improved and really turned the corner and was playing his best lacrosse towards the end. But I could rattle off a number of other guys with such a young freshman group who all gained experience, who we're looking forward to. Ty Keene, Eric Berger, Kevin Murphy, Zach Schleicher, those younger guys are made of the right stuff, really, and with the right attitude and the effort that they put forth daily, we can and will be really successful with those guys in the future.
I think defensively, if you had to pick maybe one name in a season filled with freshmen, it would be maybe one guy who wasn't a freshman, the play and the leadership of Ryan Horsch.
Ryan Horsch, what a team leader he's become, especially later in the season. He was voted a captain by his teammates and peers back in the late fall. And towards the end of the year, we leaned heavily on him. He's probably one guy, if he didn't play for us on any given game, we might be in trouble. But Ryan's made of the right stuff, and I can't wait for him to have what I think will be a breakout year for him next year.